Hello everyone, a good morning to all of you. Please let me know whether my audio and video is clear. Write down in the comment section and let me know so that we can have the class in a smooth manner. I welcome you all to the live mint analysis that we do every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 a.m. So I bring the important news articles from the newspaper, try to link it with the static portion, and then we try and understand the news. All right. Fine. So before I begin, if you want to download this YouTube class PDF, you can do it from the Oliveboard app. Just go to the courses section. There's going to be a separate YouTube class PDFs folder. From there, you can download. All right. Now let's take a look at what we're going to cover today. Firstly, we're going to talk about the India-France Global Strategic Partnership. What this means that we're going to do. India-UAE trade. We are going to, cover up our target well before time. So we're going to see what that news is about. Then RBI is moving away from rate cuts to liquidity push. What this is, we're going to take a look at that. AI could disrupt India's tech outsourcing. This was a very nice article in the newspaper. Then India emerges as low cost AI infrastructure, and how can we utilize this for the overall economic development that we're going to see. We're going to take a look at India's EV adoption, then a few fact based news. At last, we'll do MCQs at the end. Fine. So I hope audio, video, everything is clear. Good morning, Sovik. Good morning, Bhakti. I hope all of you doing well. Audio, video clear. All right. ठीक है. चलो then. Let us begin with our session. First important news over here. India France forged special global strategic partnership. So special, global at the international level, strategic partnership. Modi and Macron, they have emphasized the need for a multipolar world and have opposed hegemony. And this is an indirect signal to the dominance that US is trying to show. Right? This is an indirect signal to the dominance that US is trying to show, and they are saying that we should have a multipolar world and not a unipolar or a bipolar world. Okay, fine. What is the meaning of a multipolar world? Wherein there are many economies in all parts of the world which are growing, which have a great influence in the economy. It's not that just there should be a unipolar kind of a world where there is just one major country which is leading the way for everyone. There can be many leaders. There can be many good and developed countries or leaders in different areas. Right. Good morning, Tane. Right. So India and France, they have upgraded their partnership. Okay, India and France, they have upgraded their partnership, and now this will be known as a special global strategic partnership. Okay, they said we should have a multipolar world order, no global hegemony, and which all areas they're going to cooperate on: defense and security. Now, in a few days back, I had talked about this as well, that in this NATO alliance, because of US wanting to capture Greenland, US wanting to buy Greenland. In that case, there was a very important discussion here, that was US now a threat to the NATO alliance, and how the impact is going to be for the European nations. So I had discussed with you that NATO is a military alliance, right? It is a military alliance between US and other European countries. है ना? US and a few European countries. That attack on one country would be considered as an attack on all. That is what this NATO alliance means. But what problem there was happening was that because of this US putting a lot of tariffs on, or threatening tariffs on the European countries just because they were not giving Greenland to US, that was creating a threat to the alliance. The problem of the with this alliance is that all these European nations, they are heavily dependent on the US for defense, for military, because they they have very underdeveloped defense. So now that is why, if I talk about these European countries, we can see here that when we talk about India and France, we are also talking about defense and security, critical minerals, clean energy and nuclear energy, space and AI, Indo-Pacific security. Right? So these are the major areas where we are going to uh, 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 focus on this strategic partnership. We are going to buy this for 114 Rafale M jets. This deal is in progress from France. We're going to buy this. H125 helicopter assembly line in Karnataka will be opened up. Bell Saffron, this is a joint venture. Okay? This is going to be developed for missile systems. So we are focusing highly on defense partnership. Okay, India France Year of Innovation has also been launched. Indo French Center for AI in Health has also been launched. National Center of Excellence for Skilling in Aeronautics. All of these things have been launched. In a few days, we are going to definitely see the details of all of this. So you have to keep a tap on this, all of you. Okay, keep a tap on what, which is the India France Year of Innovation, and where is this Indo French Center for AI in Health going to be built. So you have to have a proper, you have to keep a tap on the newspaper related to this. Fine. Then we are also going to focus on strengthening our India, Middle East, Europe economic corridor. Right? This is a very important corridor project, very important, which is linking India by bypassing Pakistan Afghanistan route. It is linking India through the Middle East to the Europe. So that is how we are following a particular path, India, Middle East, Europe economic corridor. Fine, so we want to reach Europe through the Middle East corridor and by bypassing Afghanistan and Pakistan. And for that, this corridor is very, very important. है ना? Fine, so cooperation in that is also gonna be seen. Then India-France strategic partnership was basically initially established in 1998, and we are almost among the oldest strategic partners in Europe. We have strong defense cooperation. France supports India's UNSC permanent seat bid. Now, what is this UNSC? United Nations Security Council. So the countries sit over here and discuss issues related to the world, right? Here there are P5, permanent 5 members. Who are the P5 members? Can anybody tell me in the comment section which are the P5 members or the permanent 5 members? If you know, write down in the comment section. If you don't know, this is your homework. You're going to check out that which are the current P5 or the permanent 5 members of the United Nations Security Council, because countries like India, Brazil, they have constantly put their bid that they should also get a permanent seat. They should also get, a permanent seat in the UNSC, right? Fine. So, France supports India's bid to get a permanent seat in the UNSC. Fine. US, China, Russia, UK, France. Very good. Russia, China, USA, France. China, US, Russia, UK. Russia, UK, US, China, France. Very good, all of you. Okay, so these are the P5 members. Permanent 5 members. Right? US, China. Everybody knows US, China, Russia, UK, France. Right? These are the 5 or the permanent 5 members, right? And France supports India's bid for this particular thing, right? All right. I hope this is clear. So, so that is what this article is about, wherein our major focus is that we want a multipolar world, and that is why we are doing agreements with different countries. We are having, we are diversifying our exports, we are diversifying our defense cooperation, and that is because we are focusing on, uh, a proper multipolar world. Chalo. India UAE trade to reach 2032 goal of $200 billion before time. So, our target that we have set up by the year 2032 is that we want to reach 200 billion of bilateral rate, $200 billion of bilateral rate. Bilateral rate means trade between India and UAE should be 200 billion, should reach $200 billion. Right? So they are likely to reach. Now, what is this article saying? That before 2032 only we'll be able to reach this target. Okay, we have already crossed $100 billion annually. We have already crossed $100 billion. We are in 2025 and we have a lot of time. We are way ahead of our time. UAE is India's third largest trade partner. Please remember these kind of statements which are there. Learn and remember that UAE is third largest trade partner of India. second largest export destination. UAE is the second largest export destination for India as well. है ना? So you have to remember this. UAE is the third largest trade partner. Third largest trade partner. Your homework is you're going to check which is the first, which is at the first and the second position. Okay, first largest trade partner, second largest trade partner, third largest trade partner. We've already seen UAE is. This is what you have to check. Fine. This is your homework. This is what you have to check. Fine. Now our focus is shifting from trade. Initially, the focus used to be on trade. Now we are moving towards co-investment. That means investing in each other's countries. Then we are focusing on co-innovation now. Okay, innovating together. We want to innovate. And where have we collaborated? What are the new areas that we are collaborating on? Artificial intelligence. Very important in today's era. Aviation hubs, advanced manufacturing, energy and liquefied natural gas. We're also focusing on defense cooperation. That is under discussion. All right. So India's digital scale, if I talk about India's digital scale, we have around 900 million plus internet users. Fine. And we have a talent, we have good amount of talent, we have a young population, our demographic dividend is high, we have engineering strength, and that is why UAE wants to do strategic partnership with us, right? Okay, fine. So in 2022 we had signed this comprehensive economic partnership agreement wherein we focused on tariff reductions, non-oil imports to be boosted, trade facilitation, and now we are basically diversifying our scenario. We are diversifying our um, cooperation areas, है ना? We are expanding the areas where we are going to cooperate with the UAE. This also you have to remember. This is the static part that you need to remember. What all things do we export and what all things do we import? So we import crude oil, liquefied natural gas, gold from the UAE. And what do we export? Gems and jewelry, machinery, pharmaceuticals, and food products. ठीक है? Ron is asking, ma'am, do I have to remember, like, revise everything, or I can just do reading of general current affairs, finance current affairs, PIB, etc.? Yes. See, initially you have to focus on general current affairs. What you can do is general current affairs. You can read the newspaper for that, and you can for general current affairs read the newspaper on a daily basis, and whichever important things are there. For example, I'm telling you to learn this structure. This is very important. You should know what do we import and what do we export. Very important for interviews, for descriptive answer writing. India, UAE is the third largest partner. This you should remember. So maybe you can take up a separate notebook, and these small things you can keep noting down. Don't note down the entire news. Just important things that you should remember, and you need to revise. That you can note down. You can have a separate notebook. And for proper, like, going through economy and finance related news, proper for that you can follow monthly magazine. And a monthly magazine you can follow for learning. So keep your resources small. ऐसा नहीं है कि you have to read the newspaper also, then watch the analysis also, then you have to watch PIB also, then you have to watch finance current affairs also. You can do that if you have a lot of time. But if you don't have a lot of time, you can focus on this live mint analysis, and along with that you can just focus on the monthly magazine. I would suggest that. Okay, fine. For because it is very important for you to understand also some things, like in finance you're not able to understand. For example, finance, if you talk about Oliveboard finance current affairs classes, I think twice a week, so maybe you can go through that. Sometimes you need to understand and analyze things, and for that teacher is important, है ना? So it depends on your competency, it depends on how you can understand the news and all. Where is your level, how much time you have, based on that you have to decide. Okay, fine. So, why is this important now? UAE and India's partnership. That is because UAE is a major country in your India, Middle East, Europe economic corridor, and for strategic hub, investment hub. It is very important that we focus on India UAE uh, growth. Fine. So we will probably reach $200 billion before 2032 only. ठीक है? I hope this news is clear to everybody. I will share the PDF with all of you. With all of you on Telegram. If there is anybody new here, you can connect with me on Telegram also. Just type Mannat Educator. The name of my group is Economics with Mannat. Okay? Just type Mannat Educator. You will have access to my Telegram account. I will share the PDF over there. Alright? Okay? Now, next is a very important news from your exam point of view also, that RBI may shift from rate cuts to liquidity push. Now, in the previous year, we have seen that because our inflation was controlled, the overall economic scenario was good, and our push was towards economic growth and accelerating economic growth. So RBI had reduced the repo rate in multiple monetary policy committee meetings, and currently it is 5.25%. So by around 125 basis points, we had seen a reduction in the repo rate. Similarly, cash reserve ratio was also reduced from 4% to 3% in different phases. So we have seen a reduction in the repo rate. We have seen a reduction in the rate. So RBI is using rate cuts as a tool to boost economic growth. Okay? How is economic growth boosted? Because of a reduction in the rate of interest or repo rate. See, when RBI reduces repo rate, that means repo rate is the rate at which commercial banks take loan from RBI for an overnight basis in exchange of securities. If repo rate reduces, commercial banks take more loans from RBI because they'll be able to take it at a cheaper rate. If they have more loans, that means they will have more money to lend. That means they are also going to reduce their rate of interest. If they reduce their rate of interest, that means now the customers, they can also take the loans at a cheaper rate, so they will also take more loans. They will have more cash in hand because money supply in the economy increases. If they have more cash in hand, that means their purchasing power increases. If their purchasing power increases, consumption, investment, spending increase. And we know aggregate demand is equal to C plus I plus G plus X minus M. If consumption and investment increases, then aggregate demand increases, economic growth increases. That is how economic growth is boosted through a reduction in the rate cuts. I hope this is clear to everybody. This analogy you should be knowing. This transmission you should be knowing. But now this article is saying that rate cuts तो बहुत हो गए, बहुत ज़्यादा rate cuts कर दिए already. Now RBI might focus on pushing liquidity in the economy and especially in the banking system. What are we seeing time and again is that credit growth is good. Credit growth is good, but the deposit growth is not that good. We are lagging behind in the deposit. People are not depositing as much as people are as people are taking loans. As the credit growth is good, deposit growth is not good, which is creating a issue with liquidity in the banking system. And that is why we have this news over here that since Feb 2025 RBI has cut 125 basis points repo rate, and despite the rate cuts, the bond yields remain elevated. Still, uh, 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 still the deposits are still these bond yields are elevated. See, what happens is when the rate of interest, when the rate of interest ROI, the rate of interest decreases, what happens is, in contrast, bond price increases because now people shift. अब क्या होता है, what happens usually is that when rate of interest reduces, people stop depositing in the banks, they start buying the bonds, and the bond price increases and the bond yield decreases. Usually this happens. I hope you know this analogy also. Rate of interest कम होता है तो bond price बढ़ जाता है और फिर bond yield कम हो जाती है. अब इसमें हो ही नहीं रहा है. ये rate of interest कम होने से these bond yields are not reducing, they are still high. And that is why, because the yield is still high, so people are still putting their money in bonds only. They're still putting their money in bonds. And that is why we are seeing a less deposit growth in the banking system. ठीक है? So bond yields are still elevated despite the rate cuts. ठीक है, फाइनेंशियल कंडीशंस ईज नहीं हुई है, हमारी फाइनेंशियल कंडीशंस बल्कि टाइटन ही हुई है. ठीक है, that is why now RBI might rely on more of open market operations, liquidity infusions, bond switches और buybacks. ठीक है, open market operations क्या है? What do you mean by open market operations? Anybody? What is the meaning of open market operations? RBI is saying that they may focus on these three aspects here. So can I read monthly magazine for eco and finance current affairs and read newspaper for general current affairs? Yes. No, no, live mint analysis to karo. Live mint analysis is important because Ronit, live mint analysis is important. एक तो it is only 3 days a week. Along with this, read the newspaper. So, live mint analysis is important for opinion formation. It is important for opinion formation and for linking the static portion with the current portion. Okay? So this class is so anyways important because this is not just economy and finance related news. है ना? We cover a lot of extra things also. We take up a holistic coverage of the entire newspaper. So it is important for you to watch this. And time and again, if you want to watch the finance current affairs and all, if you think you need to understand any particular topic, then you do that. ठीक है? तो live mint, see what you can focus on is live mint analysis, right? Live mint analysis plus a monthly magazine. ठीक है? Monthly magazine. ठीक है? You can follow along with live mint analysis. You can read the newspaper on your own as well to improve your English and writing skills and all. So you can do these two things. This is going to really help you. Fine? Okay? आपकी मर्जी है, ऑब्वियसली पीडीएफ मैं आपको प्रोवाइड करूंगी, थोड़ा रिवाइज तो कर ही लेना ना. अभी क्लास के बाद पीडीएफ डाउनलोड करना, थोड़ा सा इंपॉर्टेंट चीजें देखना. जैसे अगर मैंने आपको बताया कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट तो उसको लिख लो एक नोटबुक पे, फिर उसी को रिवाइज कर लेना. वैसा नहीं है ना, यू कैन नॉट कीप रिवाइजिंग दीस पीडीएफ अगेन एंड अगेन. एक बार तो आप पढ़ोगे ही क्लास के बाद, है ना. हाँ जी, लिक्विडिटी कंट्रोल करने के लिए यूज किया जाता है भक्ति सिंह गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटी बाइंग एंड सेलिंग. यस, सो ओपन मार्केट ऑपरेशन refers to the buying and selling of government securities in the open market. Open market means in the secondary market. So what this means is to in order to increase liquidity or decrease liquidity हम open market operations करते हैं. मान लो हमें increase करना है money supply in the economy, we want to increase liquidity, so we are going to buy government securities. ठीक है? That these are open market operations. लिक्विडिटी इन्फ्यूजन्स करेंगे, मनी डालेंगे बैंकिंग सिस्टम में, बॉन्ड स्विचेस करेंगे, बायबैक्स करेंगे. बायबैक्स मतलब कि जो बॉन्ड्स हैं, जैसे उनकी मेच्योरिटी अगर 15 साल की है तो अर्ली मेच्योरिटी कर देंगे, मान लो 7 years बाद मेच्योरिटी कर देंगे, 10 years बाद मेच्योरिटी कर देंगे. दैट इज व्हाट हैपेंस. ठीक है. तो टिपिकल रेट साइकिल इज रेपो रेट रिड्यूसेस, लिक्विडिटी इन्फ्यूज्ड, बॉन्ड यील्ड्स डिक्रीज, जो मैंने आपको अभी रिलेशन बताया, राइट. एंड आपकी जो सीडी रेशियो है, सीडी रेशियो मींस क्रेडिट डिपॉजिट रेशियो, मतलब कि अगर कोई भी चेंज आ रहा है इकोनॉमी में, उसमें क्रेडिट कितना बढ़ रहा है और डिपॉजिट कितना बढ़ रहा है. तो लाइक आई टोल्ड यू, आवर क्रेडिट ग्रोथ इज गुड बट आवर डिपॉजिट ग्रोथ इज नॉट दैट गुड. दैट इज व्हाई द फोकस इज ऑन दिस पर्टिकुलर थिंग. ठीक है. इसीलिए आरबीआई ये चीजें करेगा. It'll move towards this particular thing. It'll move towards infusing liquidity in the economy rather than focusing on rate cuts. I hope this is clear. ठीक है. Next, AI could disrupt India's tech outsourcing model by 2030. Now, what is this? What is this meaning of tech outsourcing? What do you mean by outsourcing? Everybody? Anybody? What is the meaning of tech outsourcing? This Vinod Khosla ji, he's saying, he's a venture capitalist. He's saying that AI could disrupt the tech outsourcing model that India has by the year 2030. दूसरे को काम देना, IT services, call center and all. Exactly. So all these IT services है ना, जो आपके IT services हैं, India provides IT services to the other countries. So a lot of countries like US and all, they outsource IT services, basic IT services from India. Now what is happening? What IT services? For example, coding, quality testing, software engineering tasks and all of these things, India provides these services to the other countries, है ना? But what is happening is now AI is doing it in a very easy manner. AI is doing all of these coding, quality testing, software engineering tasks. All of these tasks are done by AI now. Like Chat GPT and all. We have other models also which are able to perform coding and all on their own. That means now these countries will not, take outsourcing services from India by the year 2030, if I say. है ना? That is why this article is saying that Vinod Khosla ji, a venture capitalist, he's saying that India's IT outsourcing model, it might die out before 2030, because these outsourced IT services, they might become unprofitable because AI can do all of these tasks on its own, on its own. And that is why Khosla is saying that we should build an Aadhaar like AI public stack, so that AI becomes affordable to everybody, and everybody is able to use artificial intelligence for the overall development of the economy. We can't rely on the outsourcing model anymore. AI could democratize healthcare, education, architecture. We have AI doctors, AI tutors, AI advisory. And AI, and there is this another person mentioned over here, Nandan Nilekani. He says that no, AI is going to create opportunities. AI is not going to disrupt, but it is going to create opportunities. But AI, see, what is the problem here is that AI will take away the traditional jobs, है ना? But it will definitely create more jobs also. It will create jobs, it will take away traditional jobs also, and that is what is known as creative destruction. That is also known as creative destruction. That जैसे जैसे new innovation आती है, this is what Schumpeter said. Schumpeter was an economist. So Schumpeter said जैसे जैसे innovation आती है, जैसे ही we bring in a new innovation, क्रिएटिव डिस्ट्रक्शन होती है, पुरानी चीज ऑब्सोलीट हो जाती है, एंड वी हैव न्यू अपॉर्चुनिटीज. हाउ वी आर गोइंग टू हार्नेस आवर न्यू अपॉर्चुनिटीज, दैट इज व्हाट इज important. That means skill development, capacity development is what is important here. That is what we are saying here. So we have to focus on reskilling, upskilling. We have to bring in we should bring in a public digital infrastructure, so that artificial intelligence is affordable and available for each and every one, each proper, for everyone. Fine. So basically, we provide low cost skilled manpower, BPO, software maintenance, all these IT services we are providing to US and Europe. And because AI can do all of that, so our outsourcing model might disrupt. And that is why we have to focus on bringing in an AI public stack. We should bring, like we have Aadhaar, UPI, ONDC. We should have a public proper which can provide us AI. A common digital infrastructure should be there for providing AI services. ठीक है? When global companies outsource workers from other countries. ठीक है? Fine? Right? I hope this is clear. Next article, India emerges as a low cost AI infrastructure hub for African startups. देखो ये जो African startups है ना, they are relying on India for AI infrastructure, because African countries or African startups, they are not able to harness the AI infrastructure from the developed countries like US and all, and that is why they are relying on India. Fine. Ron is asking, AI will take all jobs. No, yaar, AI will not take all jobs. AI will disrupt the existing jobs. Yes, it will disrupt the existing jobs. But it will definitely create more jobs also. It will create other kind of jobs, different kind of jobs. For availing these different kind of jobs, what is required? Upskilling, reskilling is required. All right. So what is this article over here? I hope this is clear on it. Now let's move on to the article here. So article says that uh, African AI startups, they are turning to India for affordable GPU infrastructure, graphics processing unit. ठीक है? See, we are relying on the the other, we are relying on developed countries like US and all for all of these, but African startups are relying on India for affordable GPU infrastructure. Asian, this is Mannath. I am Mannath. Okay, and I am an educator at Oliveboard. All right, fine. I teach economics, current affairs, finance, all of these things. All right, chalo. So African AI startups, they are turning to India for affordable GPU infrastructure. India's AI compute costs are lower than AWS, Microsoft, Azure, other Western cloud providers. तो जो भी cloud providers हैं, Western cloud providers या फिर जो developed countries हैं, जो अपने cloud services provide करती हैं, if we contrast from them, then India is providing affordable services, and that is why AI startups, they are focusing on India. Founders from South Africa and Nigeria, they showed interest in the Delhi AI Summit. I hope you are following the AI Summit which is going on right now. I'm not bringing in the articles of AI Summit because it's still going on, and we are going to together in a comprehensive manner cover all the takeaways from the AI Summit. Okay? We are going to read the takeaways or all the details of the AI Summit once it is over. That is why I'm not taking up those articles very specifically. Okay? So India will announce platform for pooled AI compute and data set access also, so that these African startups, they can seek help from India, because Western pricing is very prohibitive for the African startups and all. They cannot really afford to take up from these Western countries, and that is why India is seen as an AI infrastructure partner and an emerging AI market. ठीक है? Fine, that is what this article is saying, that now these African startups, they are focusing on India to take up the cloud services. All right. Next, how India's EV adoption is a tale of multiple hues over here. This is very, very important. See, electric vehicles today are very important to move towards a more clean economy. We want to achieve net zero emissions by the year 2070. We have our proper targets for reducing emissions. And we know that vehicular emission is one of the major factor which impacts the climate, है ना, which is leading to climate change, emissions, traffic emissions. India, may we have the India's national electric mobility mission, wherein what we are trying to do is we are going to promote electric vehicles so that more and more people can buy EVs and reduce the pollution because of uh, you know dependence of these vehicles on fuel like petroleum and diesel, which creates a lot of pollution in the economy. So our focus is on increasing the use of EVs, है ना? So now this report is saying that electric vehicles account for 6.7% of calendar year 2025 sales. So yes, EVs may we have seen progress, but we have not seen an even progress across all kind of vehicles. We have seen an uneven progress. For example, in electric three wheelers, buses, two wheelers. Only over here in these segments we have seen a push. Electric three wheelers, bus and two wheeler categories only have seen an electric vehicle push. Others we have not seen, growth in that. If I talk about the question here, that is transport a major source of emission? So yes, it is, because it contributes 12 to 13% of carbon dioxide emissions. This data becomes important here. Please learn it, write it down somewhere. This will be very helpful in your descriptive answer writing. That these vehicular emissions are approximately 12 to 13% of carbon dioxide emissions. And out of this, if I talk about road transport specifically, it alone accounts for 90% of this share. That out of this 12 to 13%, 90% share is from road transport. Medium and heavy commercial vehicles, CVs, medium and heavy commercial vehicles, they are less than 5%. We have less heavy and medium commercial vehicles, but they contribute around 40% to the emissions. This data is important, which will help you in writing a good answer. Okay, everyone? And that is why decarbonizing the sector is very, very important if you want to reduce the emissions. है ना? ठीक है? If I talk about different sectors which have adopted EVs, like I told you that 6.7% of auto sales were EVs. They made up 6.5% of two wheelers, three wheelers 52%, 7% of buses. So we have majorly seen in buses, we have seen in two wheelers and three wheelers that mostly people have moved towards EVs in this particular segment. Fine. Two wheelers benefit from simpler tech, small battery requirements, lower reliance on public charging. Private four wheelers they depend on distributed public charging networks. अब चार्जिंग नेटवर्क्स ही नहीं है जब आप मैं ईवी ट्रक ले लूं, मैं ईवी कार ले लूं, बट चार्जिंग स्टेशन ही नहीं है. How why will I buy that car then? You are trying to increase the sales of electric vehicles without a proper EV ecosystem. You will not be able to increase its adoption. If I talk about charging infrastructure, then government investment in clean mobility incentives has exceeded 82,000 crore, including 840 crore for charging infrastructure. So ऐसा नहीं है, we are putting in money, but our infrastructure rollout is very uneven. One public charger for every 235 EVs, which is insufficient for four wheelers and buses. And that is why जो ये four wheelers और ये buses है, इसके अंदर जो adoption है, EV adoption, that is quite low, क्योंकि हमारे पास enough charging infrastructure है ही नहीं. ठीक है. If I talk about electric trucks, they are more suited to light and medium payloads. Electric trucks remain more expensive. See, why people are not buying electric trucks? क्योंकि वो expensive है. If I talk about these electric trucks as compared to the diesel trucks, it is expensive for them. That is why they are not buying these electric trucks. है ना? Fine. So what is this important article saying over here is there are four pillars that we need to focus on. One is we have to focus on technology development in this segment. Second, we have to bring in proper infrastructure. We have to create proper infrastructure. Second, we have to strengthen our this charging ecosystem, or you can say the EV ecosystem needs to be strengthened, and we have to focus on renewing the fleet. These are the four important pillars that we have to focus on. This is very important, all of you. This article is very important. If you get a question for descriptive answer writing, then you can write all of these things here. So these were the articles that we had to cover in detail. Okay. Apart from that, we have a few fact based news. For example, you can take a look at this over here. AIMS, All India Institute of Medical Sciences, only 4 out of 20 AIMS have 70% or more of their faculty positions. Why I wanted to highlight over here is that there is a dearth of proper medical staff. See, health is one of the most important socio-economic issue that needs to be addressed, right? But if we see the scenario in the country, we have shortage of staff. We have a shortage of staff. We have a lot of vacancies which are not being fulfilled. If you see 446 vacancies in New Delhi, 71 vacancies in Bhopal, 113 vacancies in Madurai, 105 vacancies in Rajkot, right? 184 vacancies in Jodhpur. 8 campuses had vacancies above 40%. You can see that so many vacant posts are there. How are we going to achieve our good health status if this is going to be the scenario? So there's a huge gap here. So this is what I wanted to highlight here. Okay, that there is a huge gap in this health infrastructure, health medical staff and all. Okay. Then RBI absorbs nearly half of government's bond supply. So what has RBI done? It has brought government securities equivalent to 47% of the center's total bond issuances. So what is this? What is this move for? Why have we brought in this move? Buying government securities. If RBI is buying government securities, what does it mean? That it is trying to. Is the audio video not clear? Acha. Okay, it's fine. Tanay is saying it's fine. So why is RBI buying these government securities? RBI is buying these government securities to infuse liquidity. To infuse liquidity. ठीक है, that is what we actually do. है ना? तो buying government securities to infuse liquidity, selling government securities to reduce liquidity or tighten liquidity, and that is what RBI has done over here. Like we were discussing in the previous slide also, that we need to increase liquidity in the economy, and for that RBI is focusing on this. Fine. I hope this is clear. That is just important stuff that I want you to read, Ronit. You can, yes, remember that. I have not highlighted in every article. In the important articles where I have not given the explanation, there I have highlighted. So you have to remember that. Okay. Solar cell firms eye 50 gigawatt capacity at 30,000 crore. See, solar energy is very very important because it is part of your clean energy. Plus, India is, if I talk about the sunlight scenario in India, we are one of the tropical countries. Now we are one of the tropical countries. If this is your Earth, we are a part of those solar rich countries and a sunlight rich countries. We have the international solar mission as well. So that is why we are focusing on solar capacity over here. That India is planning to India, the solar manufacturers, they are planning approximately 50 gigawatt solar cell capacity. They want to add around 50 gigawatt of solar cell capacity, and they're going to invest around 30,000 crore. Fine. And why we are doing this? Because of these ALMM. These are local sourcing rules. Approved list of models and manufacturers, or local sourcing rules. What are these local sourcing rules? That we have to manufacture components which are used for solar energy. The components, we have to manufacture those components domestically. Domestically, we have to manufacture those components. That these are known as local sourcing rules. ठीक है, and that is why these manufacturers, they are planning around 50 gigawatt solar cell capacity addition. And current, if I talk about current domestic cell capacity, it's around 6 to 7 gigawatt. ठीक है, and see, what happens is that we are heavily reliant on Chinese solar cells. We are heavily import dependent on the solar cells from China, right? Fine. So that is why now we have local sourcing rules. Government has brought in some rules that we have to reduce this dependence and focus on, uh, uh, you know, manufacturing from India itself, indigenous manufacturing, and that is the reason why we have this news here. Okay. So if I talk about the solar ambition of India, the target is 500 gigawatt non-fossil fuel capacity by 2030. This is our long-term target. That by the year 2030 we should have at least 500 gigawatt of non-fossil fuel capacity. उसके अंदर भी we have different different targets for solar, wind, and everything. And out of this, out of these, na, solar energy is the most important and the maximum and the highest contributor. The largest contributor is solar energy. ठीक है, fine. And that is the reason why we are focusing on this particular news. ठीक है. See, Ronit, you don't always get questions just from economic and finance, na. As the artificial intelligence, say you can get questions. Social issues, say you can get questions. Electric vehicles is important for climate change, and climate change is an important social issue which comes under your ESI, economics and social issues. So climate change is a social issue, right? And to address this climate change, to address the emissions problem, we have one area which is electric vehicles. So through electric vehicles, what we are trying to do is we are trying to reduce the emissions. So it comes under the social issue part. So you can get a question like that. Plus we have PM e-drive, PM e-bus seva scheme. You can get a question directly from the scheme then, if not like that. ठीक है? Okay. Chalo. Next, India is just 4% of the world market. Investors need global exposure. So our global presence is not that good. That is why this article is saying that we need global exposure. India accounts for approximately 4% of global market capitalization. Only 4%. 96% of global investment lie outside India. All these opportunities outside India. Right? So experts are recommending that at least 10 to 30% of allocation should be to the global assets. That means we need to focus on increasing our global share. We have RBI's liberalized remittance scheme, so we can do overseas investment up to 250,000 crore per year. I hope you guys know this liberalized remittance scheme, है ना? We have gift city route also, IFSC, International Financial Services Center. Uske through भी also money can be invested. India's market share, if I talk about equity market, it is growing rapidly, But it is very, very small as compared to US, Europe, Japan, China, and that is why we need to focus on increasing our share, increasing our investments overseas also. है ना? Plus India में we have depreciation also. It is depreciating approximately 3 to 4% annually. So dollar denominated assets can hedge currency risk. So if we have dollar denominated assets now, it is going to really help us in acting as a buffer against this depreciation of the currency. So we should have international level investments as well. We have to increase our share in international investments as well. All right. So that was the news. Next, we have this: a demographic crisis looms if the world fails in its response. What is the crux of this article over here is that demographic dividend in the next few years is going to be very, very high for the developing countries. Can anybody tell me what is the meaning of demographic dividend? Anybody, what is the meaning of demographic dividend? I am saying that demographic dividend in the developing countries in the next few years is going to be really high. In fact, India may we have a very good amount we have a good demographic dividend ratio right now in India. है ना? That is why we keep talking about harnessing the potential of our demographic dividend. So this is basically that our working age population is quite high. People from 15 to 59 or 64 years of age, that population is quite high. Working age population. And if we utilize the working age population in the best possible manner, we use their potential for the growth of the economy. That is what is known as demographic dividend. Matlab men and women's ratio, classification of the population into age groups wherein youth is the most important. Youth is not the most important here. It's just that our working age population is very, very high as of now. And the potential for them to work for the overall development of the economy is very high. So this article is saying that demographic dividend is going to be high in the countries, but if we do not harness the potential, then we might see a demographic crisis, is what this article is talking about. So over 1.2 billion people in the developing countries will enter the working age in the next 10 to 15 years. So 10 to 15 years next May, 1.2 billion people in the developing countries will enter. Only 400 million jobs expected at current rates. So there is a huge job gap. We are saying that the working age population is going to increase, but jobs will not increase. If the potential of this demographic dividend of the working age population is not harnessed, we might see a crisis. So by 2050, approximately 85% of world population will live in the developing countries, and it is very important for us to address this problem. So demographic expansion is a development challenge and a national security risk also. This article is giving us a solution. Again, this is very important. Please remember this solution. Here you can get a question related to demographic dividend also. Huh? What question can you get related to demographic dividend? That India is very rich in demographic dividend as of now. What are the challenges that India is facing? And what can be the solution to it? So this kind of a question can be asked in the exam. So you can write down such points here. That we have to focus on infrastructure and human capital formation. We have to bring in business friendly reforms. We have to scale private sector job creation. This is a three pillared approach, focusing on human capital formation, business friendly reforms, private sector job creation. So World Bank is pushing public private job strategy here. Right, so there is this demographic transition which is going on in the developing countries. We are seeing a huge rise in the working age population, and advanced economies are facing shrinking workforce, aging population. So demographic dividend should not be converted into a demographic disaster for the developing economies. We have to harness their potential, is what this article is talking about. I hope this is clear, everybody. These were the important articles that I wanted to discuss with you. I will share the PDF with all of you on Telegram. If still some of you have not joined, you can join the Telegram channel by typing Mannat Educator. Just type Mannat Educator. You will have access to my group. The name of the group is Economics with Mannat. So I will share with you the PDF over here. Please download the PDF, revise whatever we have done, note down the important points that I have told you. है ना, which can you can use those statements and all in your answer, the data you can use in your answer, so you can write that down in one particular notebook or just highlight over here. Let's do some MCQs. First question here: a demographic dividend occurs when elderly population rises, working age population exceeds dependents, birth rate increases, death rate rises. What is the answer? What is the answer for the first question? Absolutely correct. Working age population exceeds the dependents, and dependents is, children and the elderly. ठीक है? Less than 15 years of age and more than 64 years of age, you can say. Right? These are the dependents. Jobless growth primarily reflects fiscal deficit, high inflation, GDP growth without employment growth, population decline. What is the meaning of jobless growth? You can get a question like this also descriptive, that India is suffering from the problem of jobless growth, identify challenges and provide solutions. So that way you can get a question. तो लिख लिख के याद करो रोनित, ठीक है, जो नहीं याद रहता उसको लिख लिख के याद करो. देखो, there is an inverse relationship, between time and your retention power. ठीक है, दैट मीन्स अगर आपने यहाँ एक चीज पढ़ी, वो धीरे धीरे करके आप हमेशा भूलते ही रहेंगे. तो इसका सोल्यूशन क्या है फिर? सोल्यूशन इसका ये है दैट यू हैव टू ब्रेक दिस लूप. ब्रेक दिस लूप कैसे होगा ब्रेक? जब आप थोड़े समय में रिवाइज करोगे, यानी कि आपने आज पढ़ा, एक हफ्ते बाद दोबारा उसको पढ़ लिया, तो आपकी नई लूप शुरू हो जाती है. फिर उसको एक हफ्ते बाद दोबारा पढ़ा, फिर आपकी एक नई लूप शुरू हो जाएगी. देन अगेन अ लूप विल स्टार्ट. देन अगेन यू आर गोइंग टू ब्रेक इट बाय रिवाइजिंग इट अगेन. देन द loop will start again. So this loop has to start until and unless you have the exam day. ठीक है? Okay, so there's a negative inverse relationship between retention and time. And to break this inverse relationship, you have to break this cycle by revising. Alright? Okay, Ronit? Chalo. So, what is the answer here? GDP growth without employment growth is what is known as jobless growth. That growth is happening without generating jobs. RBI's liberalized remittance scheme permits individuals to remit up to how much amount of money? $100,000, $250,000, $500,000, or unlimited? Through the liberalized remittance scheme, say you want to send money abroad to your relatives, say in Canada or US. How much amount of money can you send under liberalized remittance scheme? Yes, $250,000. B is the correct answer. PLI incentives are linked to employment numbers, export value only, incremental production or output, or fixed subsidy. PLI is production linked incentive schemes, which is very important today. We see this on an everyday basis. What is the meaning of production linked incentive scheme? This is for the manufacturing sector, for the industrial sector. What is it? Production linked incentive means that we are not going to provide you subsidies initially to start a business. In fact, if you increase your sales, that means if we see incremental sales, if we see increase in production in your business, and we see that you have increased your sales than the previous year, in that case we are going to provide you incentives. So your incentives will be linked to incremental production or output. So C is the correct answer. Sovereign AI capability enhances fiscal deficit, import dependence, digital autonomy, trade restrictions. Sovereign AI means when AI is available for the masses, जो हमने public stack वाले बात की थी, है ना, कि public के लिए properly AI should be available. Sovereign AI which is made available by your own government. So what it enhances fiscal deficit, import dependence, digital autonomy, or trade restrictions. Yes, it enhances digital autonomy because you will have to reduce your dependence on the foreign countries. है ना? UAE is India's largest trade partner, third largest trade partner, fourth largest trade partner, or largest oil supplier. Sixth question. Third largest trade partner. है ना? Very good. India-France relations were first elevated to a strategic partnership in 1998, 2000, 2005 or 2014? India-France relations first elevated to a strategic partnership in which year? Yes, 1998. Right. Critical minerals are strategically important because they are essential for renewable energy, defense systems, semiconductor manufacturing, agriculture subsidies. You have to identify the correct statement. See, critical minerals are those minerals which are very important today, which are used in EVs, which are used in semicons and all, chips and all. Today it is very important. They have an increasing importance. So for they have a strategic national importance today. That is what is meant by critical minerals. Okay? So critical minerals are strategically important because they are essential for renewable energy, defense systems, semicon, agriculture subsidies. What is the answer? Absolutely correct. The answer is B here. For renewable energy, defense system, semicon manufacturing, agriculture subsidies का तो कोई लेना देना नहीं है इससे. Right? Open market operations primarily affect fiscal deficit, exchange rate, system liquidity or direct tax revenue. Open market operations. Buying and selling of government securities in the open market. What do these impact? Question 9. How come B Bhakti exchange rate? Do these impact the exchange rate? Or system liquidity? They increase or decrease liquidity in the economy, है ना? So these are what open market operations are. Your answer is C over here. ठीक है? Bond yields may rise despite rate cuts due to heavy government borrowing, weak investor demand, falling inflation. अब यहाँ पे बोल जैसे I was telling you ना that with a reduction in the rate cuts, usually what happens is that your bond price increases but bond yield decreases. But in India it is not happening in that manner. They are not leading to a decrease in the bond yield but increase in the bond yield. So what can be the reason behind that? What can be the reason behind that? Yes. 1 and 2 only. Heavy government borrowing. Government is borrowing a lot. If government is borrowing a lot, say through bonds, government is borrowing a lot through bonds, तो बहुत ज्यादा borrowing करेंगे तो फिर उनको जो बॉन्ड पे जो yield है उसको भी ज्यादा देना पड़ेगा. वीक इन्वेस्टर डिमांड ही कम है लोगों की तरफ से. राइट. फाइन. So that is all from my side, everyone. I hope that this is clear to all of you. These were the important news articles I wanted to discuss with you. Fine, I will share the PDF with all of you on Telegram. You can join here. Okay? And if there's any doubt that you want to ask me, if there's any question you want to ask me, you can ask me. Otherwise, we'll end the session here. I hope you liked the session. I hope the session was fruitful. I hope you guys have understood the news articles in detail, whatever I wanted to discuss with you, how you have to link the static portion and the current portion together, how you have to read the newspaper. That is very, very important. Fine? Okay, Bhakti, thank you. All right. All right. Have a good day, everyone. We're going to see all of you in the next one. Let's meet on Monday. All those who have their SEBI examination tomorrow on 21st Feb, wish you all the best. Do well and ace it. ठीक है? चलो. All right then. Thank you and have a great